4.2, graphing quadratic functions in vertex or intercept form. So when you have vertex form, you have y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So anytime you see this squared, I know it's in vertex form. That's my key, okay? This equals vertex form. Your vertex is hk. So whatever this sign is, it's opposite of that, but your k stays the same. So hk. So they give us this graph of y equals negative 1/4 x plus 2 squared plus 5. Okay? What do you know from looking at that graph automatically? What do you know is going to happen to this graph? On the green one. Y equals negative 1/4 x plus 2 squared.
It's going to flip.
It's going to flip. What do you know? What's that 1/4 tell me it's going to do also?
Shrink?
Shrink. Yeah, it's going to get fat. Okay? Now, the only thing that has to change is I've got to first identify my vertex. So what is my vertex on this? Negative 2, 5. That's my first step. Find vertex and graph it. So negative 2, positive 5 is right here. There's my vertex. Now, what do you think I'm going to do after that?
Plug in a point.
Plug in a point. We're going to plug in a point, and then we'll reflect it, and then we'll have a parabola. Okay? So I'm going to plug in negative 1, or I can plug in 0, because it's right here. It doesn't matter. Okay? Actually, let's plug in 0. So if I plug in 0, I get this. 0 plus 2 squared plus 5. I plugged in 0 because I know 1/4 and 2, when I multiply them to get like things like that together, they're the same type of number. So I get negative 1/4 times 2 squared plus 5. What's 2 squared?
4.
4. What's 4 times negative 1/4?
Negative 1.
So I get negative 1 plus 5, which gives me
4.
4. So when I plug in a 0, I get a
4.
4 out. 0, 4. Now what am I going to do with that point?
Reflect.
Reflect it over the axis of symmetry. So it's 1, 2 units away, 1, 2 units. Boom. And then I have my parabola. Okay? That's graphing in vertex form. Pretty simple. I think that's easier than graphing in standard form, yeah? Okay, because it gives you the vertex and you just plug in one point. Makes it pretty easy. And you can plug in any point you want, as long as it's not the vertex. Otherwise, it's pretty simple. Okay. Give you a second.
Will the quiz be over 4.1 to 4.3?
3.
Okay.
Okay, so this next equation in blue, okay, it wants to know what is this distance from here to here? What is the distance, okay? They said this is 307 feet, but they give us an equation of this parabola, okay? And the equation says y equals 1 over 7,000 times x minus 1,400 squared plus 27, okay? What form is that equation in?
Vertex.
Vertex. So if this is in vertex form, okay, if this is in vertex form, then that means that this part right here is what of that parabola? It's the vertex. And it's also halfway between this whole distance, yes? Okay? So if you can figure out what the vertex is, then you can figure out what the whole distance is. Okay? What is my vertex?
1400
1400 what?
and 27.
And 27. Now, which one is my distance? The 1400 or the 27? Think about it. What axis would this be?
That'd be the X.
The X. So which one is it?
The 1400.
So from here to here is 1400. Okay? So what is my total distance?
2800.
2800. Do you see how I didn't even have to do any math? Okay? So when it's in vertex form, I can figure out distance pretty easy. Just double it.
Well, so for that, would we need to know the vertex, or?
Yes, you have to know the vertex because you have to have this information to get that whole distance. Okay? Okay. The other form we need to talk about is intercept form. Vertex, I think, is the easiest of all three. You have the least amount of work to do. It gives you the vertex. You plug in a point, you get a graph. Okay? On standard form, we have to first find the vertex, right? By doing the opposite of b over 2a, plug it in, find the y, you get your vertex, then you plug a point in. When you're in intercept form, you have to find the vertex, okay? Plug x into the equation to find the y of the vertex, and then you're going to plot the intercepts, okay? So, let's talk about this. Or I can plot the intercepts first. It really doesn't matter which step you do first. When I'm looking for my intercepts, here's how you figure out your intercepts. And when I say intercepts, I mean x-intercepts, okay? So my intercepts go with these numbers right here. Just like the vertex, when it's with the x, it's opposite of what it is, okay? So first I'm going to find my vertex. What is my P and my Q in this equation right here?
-3 and +1.
Yes, -3 and +1.
Oh,
So I'm going to do x, yeah, you do
well, I
opposite.
didn't think we were still doing that.
Always, anytime it's inside with an x, you take the opposite. That's the easiest way to remember it. So I'm going to get -3 + 1 over 2, which is -2 over 2, which gives me -1. Now, I'm going to plug x in to find y. Okay? So I'm going to say y equals 2, -1 + 3, -1 - 1. Y equals 2 times 2 times -2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times -2 is, so my vertex is -1, -8. Okay? -1, -8. Now, I don't have to do any other math because I have my intercepts. What are my intercepts?
-3 +1.
Yes, so -3, 0, and 1, 0. So -3, 0, 1, 0. Boom. So are vertex and intercept form easier? Yes.
And for the when you got for the second,
Mm-hmm.
you just plug x in.
You just plug what you get here for your x
Okay.
into the equation to find the y of your vertex. Okay? So, when you're graphing vertex form says y equals a times x minus h squared. The squared tells me plus k. I find my vertex is the opposite of h and k. I plug in a point. When you're in intercept form, it's y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. You have two sets of parentheses. Okay? On your homework, there might be a question where it's only one set of parentheses like this and it says it's in intercept form. What would the other intercept be if there's only one set of parentheses? If there is nothing there, 0. Okay? So that's the only time it's tricky, is when it's 0, they don't put another intercept there. Okay? So let's do some homework.